You became a chiropractor to change lives, but no one showed you how to build a clinic that actually works. This is Adjusting the Mindset, where chiropractors start seeing their practice differently and start building it differently. I'm Dr. Charbel, and this is where that shift starts. Let me ask you something before we get into any of this. If I asked you right now, what is your vision for your practice? What would you say? Most chiropractors can answer that question. They have a picture of what they want the practice to look like. But here's the question that matters more. Does your team have the same picture? Does your front desk have it? Does your associate? Does the person answering your phones? Does the patient sitting in your waiting room right now feel it in the environment around them? Because if the vision lives only in your head and it has never been translated into something your team can see, feel, and execute, then you do not have a practice vision. You have a personal intention. And those are two very different things. That is where we start today. Vision is not a mission statement on a wall. It's not a paragraph you wrote once and forgot about it. It's not a goal or a revenue target. Vision is the complete picture of the experience you are building. From the moment a potential patient finds you online, to the moment they finish care and refer someone they trust, every touch point, every interaction, every sensory detail is your vision materializing. What does your clinic smell like when someone walks in? What music is playing? What does your team, or how does your team greet someone who has never been there before? How do you sit down with a new patient? How do you present a treatment plan? How do you follow up after their first visit? All of that is your vision made physical, made real, made tangible. And the clarity of that vision, or the absence of it, determines almost everything about whether your practice grows or stalls. Let me tell you something from my own experience that I wish I had understood earlier. When I opened my first practice, I had passion. I had drive. I had a genuine desire to help people the way nobody had been able to help my mother growing up. But I did not have a clear vision of exactly who I wanted to serve, exactly how I wanted to serve them, and exactly what the experience of being in my care would feel like. Because of that, I spent years figuring out through trial and error what could have been clear from the beginning. I tried to serve everyone. I built without a blueprint. The day I got clear on my vision, who I was building for, what I stood for, what the experience in my practice was going to feel, sound, and smell like, everything accelerated. Not because the tactics changed, because the direction was finally clear. And here's something I wish someone had told me in year one. The faster you get clear on your vision, the faster you get there. And the more specifically you communicated, the more people, patients, team members, even opportunities naturally move toward you. Your clarity becomes your magnetism. This is not a slogan. That is what actually happens in real practice. Before you can define your vision clearly, you need to understand why you are building it. Not what you do, not how you do it, why you do it. Your why is the reason this practice exists beyond generating revenue. It's the purpose that gets you up before your first patient arrives and keeps you invested long after the day ends. For me, it started with my mother. Watching her suffer from debilitating migraines that no traditional treatment could resolve. The helplessness I felt as a child, wanting to solve a problem I had no tools to solve. That experience planted a seed that eventually became my entire professional purpose. To find a solution where none seems to exist. To help people regain function and live without limitation. That why informed everything. Who I serve, how I show up, what the experience in my practice feels like. What I'm willing to fight for when things get hard. Your team needs to know your why, not as a speech, as a story. Because people do not follow a vision statement. They follow a human being whose purpose they believe in. And your patients, they feel your why before they consciously understand it. It shows up in the way you walk into the room, in the way you listen, in the way you present care. A chiropractor who knows why they do this work communicates something that no script can manufacture. So before you write your vision statement, ask yourself honestly, why did you become a chiropractor? What drives you beyond the clinical work? What would you want people to say about you and your practice long after you're gone? Those answers are the foundation everything else is built on. There are 2 layers of vision in a chiropractic practice, and most chiropractors only ever develop one of them. The first layer is your practice vision. This is the big picture where your practice is going. What it stands for, who it serves, what the experience is, what the culture feels like, what you're building toward. Not just the next quarter, but 3 to 5 years from now. This is the vision your team needs to understand. This is what every hiring decision, every marketing message, and every operational standard should reflect. The second layer is your patient vision. This is the picture you hold in your mind for every individual patient who sits across from you. Before you walk into that room, what is your vision for that person? What do you see as the outcome? What do you believe is possible for them? What is the journey from where they are today to where they need to be? And then, can you communicate that vision to them clearly enough that they believe in it too? Now, here's where most practices break down. Not from lack of vision, from vision that never gets translated into something the team can actually execute. That is where the gap begins. Here's a tool I want you to use inside your vision work this week. Most chiropractors set 1-year goals, revenue targets, new patient numbers, maybe a staff plan. Those matter, but they're not a vision. They are a milestone. A vivid vision is different. It's a detailed, specific, written description of what your practice looks and feels like 3 to 5 years from now. Not a projection, a picture. How many locations do you have? What does the patient experience feel like across every one of them? What is your reputation in the community? What do people say when someone asks them to recommend a chiropractor? What does your team culture feel like? What is your role in the practice? Are you still treating full-time? Or have you stepped into a leadership and growth role? What does your life look like because the practice is running the way you always envisioned? Write that down in the present tense, as if it is already true, as specifically as you can. Because a vivid vision does something a goal cannot do. It gives your team and yourself a destination that is real enough to feel. And when people can feel where they're going, they move differently. They make decisions differently. They show up differently. Early in my career, I wish I had done this exercise sooner. The practices I have watched grow fastest are the ones where the owner can describe in vivid details what they're building and communicate it so clearly that everyone around them can see it too. There is a gap in almost every chiropractic practice between the vision that the owner holds and the reality the team and the patient experience every day. The gap, invisible, unmeasured, quietly compounding, is responsible for more team misalignment, more patient drop-off, and more leadership exhaustion than almost any other structural problem in a practice. The gap shows up in small moments. A team member who answers the phone in a tone that does not match your brand. A patient who drops off after 3 visits because they never fully understood why they need to come back. A new hire who seemed great in the interview but never quite fit the culture. All of that is the vision gap. And the way you close it is not by working harder or spending more on marketing. The way you close it is by getting so clear on your vision and so consistent in communicating it that the gap has nowhere to hide. Let me give you a specific example. Early on, I had a vision for the patient experience that was very clear in my head. The clinic would feel calm and welcoming. The music will be intentional. The scent would be specific. We even eventually developed our own candle with 3 scents that had personal meaning to me. The lighting was deliberate. The team would be warm, present, and genuinely curious about each patient as a human being, not just a case. But for a long time, that vision existed only in my head. My team was doing their best, but their best was based on their own interpretation, not on a clear communicated standard. The moment I translated that vision into specific, observable, repeatable behaviors, the moment I made it visible, everything shifted. Not because I hired different people, because I gave the people, I had something clear to execute. Your team cannot execute what they cannot see. This is not a reflection on them. This is a responsibility that sits with you as the leader. Your vision statement is not a marketing tagline. It is an internal document, a clear, specific declaration of what you are building, who you are building it for, and what the experience of being in your practice looks and feels like. Use this 5-part framework. Why do you do this? Your purpose, your story, the reason this practice exists beyond the clinical work. Who do you serve? Not everyone. Be specific. Who is the patient you are built for? What are they dealing with? What do they want to achieve? Third, what do you stand for? Your values, your philosophy, the principles that guide every decision, clinical and operational. Fourth, what is the experience? Describe the patient journey from the first impression to last visit. What does it feel, sound, and smell like to be in your care? What are you building toward? Your vivid vision, 3 to 5 years from now, specific, written as if it is already true. Write this down, not the perfect version, the honest version. What you actually see when you close your eyes and picture what you're building. This is your foundation, and everything else builds on top of it. Write your vision statement using the 5-part framework. Give yourself 30 minutes. Do not edit as you go. Just write what you see. Then complete the identity gap. Where is the biggest distance right now between the vision you just wrote and what your team and patients are actually experiencing? The clearer your vision, the easier everything becomes. Not easy, clear. And clarity is what allows a practice to grow without constantly feeling off. Let's build something your practice can actually follow. If this episode sparked something, send it to one chiropractor you actually care about. A quick review helps another chiropractor get what they need, and it means the world to us. And if you're ready for more, grab your free resource at pulsepointpractice.com/free.